Excellent.
All right, and we're
There
moving
we
in, and dang, they're moving fast.
All right, so
Holy crap.
ASU. So we have for Santa Cruz a ban on Zagara, followed by a ban on Rhaegar for ASU, and then Santa Cruz first picks Falstad. So this leaves a lot of options for ASU. Obviously, Li Ming on the table.
Yeah, and last game that Li Ming did so much work.
Yeah, but I'd also argue that Udal's Falstad in game one did quite a bit of work as well.
It did.
So good on Santa Cruz to remove it from their options, taking it for themselves. I feel like Falstad, in terms of ranged assassins, can be a bit tricky if you're not familiar with the character. So hopefully Santa Cruz has somebody who's really comfortable on that character. And now ASU potentially just picking Johanna second. So pretty early on.
Yeah, a very early tank pick. And I mean, you usually don't see tank picks this early unless it's something the player really wants bad.
Certainly
like,
not.
I really want this character.
Certainly in the current meta, where most tanks are not very highly prioritized.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely weird to see it picked that early. So ASU will take the Johanna. Now Santa Cruz has 2 picks before the midpoint. I'm interested to see where they go with this. They still have Jaina available.
I would not be surprised to see a Jaina. We could also potentially see a Thrall out of them because ASU did not pick Thrall this time around. And since Zagara is banned, they may want that lane presence again.
I'd really like to see them go Jaina Thrall at this point, unless they have a support or warrior player who's a stickler about playing a particular hero. Mm-hmm. Although, as we saw in the last game, they left their support pick fairly late.
Yeah, and that's usually how it goes. If you have someone on your team that's super comfortable with all the supports, then you usually leave that to your later pick because it just doesn't matter as much, and you grab your warrior or your DPS that you really want early. And so I think that's kind of ASU's side. Maybe they don't care what support they get. That's not as big of a deal. They want Johanna, or they need Johanna for the specific strat they're running, and it is Thrall.
And honestly, if you don't get Rhaegar, it's not, it's probably not. And wow, they actually go for Morales.
Wow, and it's definitely an early Morales pick. You're tipping your hand a little bit, I would think. This does give ASU time to figure out how they want to counter that.
So now if you're ASU, what are you thinking? You thinking maybe second warrior? We could maybe see another Leoric potentially, or do you maybe go for a Sonya or even a Zeratul potentially?
Well, so they're doing their second ban right now. If I was ASU, I would ban out the warrior I didn't want to play against. Especially since Santa Cruz has tipped their hand already.
Yeah,
and with that Morales, and they are hovering over an ETC.
Yep, I think that's probably a good idea. At the moment, they don't have Bless Shield / Kanem is a possibility to interrupt it, but if she's caught in it,
there's not much you can do about that. So I think to me this says ASU said we don't want to play against ETC. We know you've got to pick a warrior, so here's one less that you have to choose from.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what. Now, at this point, I think if you're Santa Cruz, you could limit a support. You could also limit damage options. Like, if you're not going to pick Jaina, that's an option. They're actually just going to, get Brightwing out of the rotation. I feel like ASU already has a burst damage with Li Mei. However, it's still possible to add Jaina to that situation. They may or may not choose to do that. But if they do, it's going to be something that Morales might have trouble dealing with. That's going to be a lot of burst.
I think that's a really good point. And I think they could grab Jaina and maybe another sustain, maybe a specialist, and it'd still be good. But, I mean, Greymane's not a bad option either if that's what they end up going. They do go Zeratul. So this could be super dangerous for that Morales.
Honestly, as soon as I saw that Morales pick, the first thing in my mind was Zeratul, because if you have a confident Zeratul player who can exploit the Morales in the middle of team fights, it gets really sketchy for your team, and then they follow up with the Kharazim.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm really interested to see what their 5th pick will end up being. They really can pick anything.
They have a lot of options. I would like to see a sustained damage dealer from them, which at this point they're sort of running out of options, honestly.
Yeah, and then Santa Cruz grabs Muradin, probably their best option with the limited pool that's left. I mean, Muradin, just a great overall tank, and we've seen this a lot lately. Muradin, Johanna being fairly highly regarded as far as tank picks go, especially when that ETC is out of the picture. What do you think they need to round off this comp, Josh?
For UCSC, you could do a number of things, but honestly, I think you really just want to take Jaina at this point. She's still available.
Yep.
And then they're going to do it.
It is.
All right.
And that's a great pickup. It's not normally one you see last until last pick.
No.
That's definitely a bit surprising, but overall, it is a very good team comp, I think. ASU, I don't know. Abathur?
Oh yeah, I like
Abathur?
this. I like this a lot. Sky Temple, a great map for Abathur.
Yep, it is.
And it is going to be very annoying to be Lieutenant Morales between, that's probably going to be either a Li Ming or a Zeratul clone. And the Zeratul clone is almost more dangerous for Morales because the Zeratul can confirm damage on Morales. Whereas Li Ming, the orb could get blocked by Muradin or Thrall. The magic missiles might not make it in. But absolutely, that Zeratul clone is getting to that Morales. That's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit the nail on the head. The Zeratul clone doesn't have to worry about dying. Sure, it's going to give up a little of experience, but it can go deep and confirm the kill and then not have to worry about getting out.
At the very least, it represents guaranteed pressure on Morales, and that is something
that's scary.
That support player is going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to know, we get into a team fight, there's going to be a Zeratul on me at the beginning of that fight. So if I can't get Peel, my team is going to be without me for the beginning of that fight. So I love this adaptation by ASU.
Yeah.
Just in summary here, I think they did a great job of seeing that Morales and going, okay, here's what we go with. What do you think about the Karazim, TBK?
I think, I mean, we have a fairly squishy team other than Muradin on the side of Santa Cruz. So I think for me, if I was ASU, I would almost go Divine Palm in this situation, especially when I'm going to be possibly lacking that fifth person, just to enable more of this play. Okay, you want to focus somebody? Bam. Divine Palm, they're back. And there goes the number advantage.
And what about Zeratul? Do you think he goes Shadow Assault potentially?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Just being able to stick to that Jaina or that Thrall or even that Morales and just blowing her up. And I mean, or even double Zeratul and blowing her up. I mean, that's a huge possibility, but at the same time, man, it's hard to give up that Void Prison.
Oh, and Udall is going to be playing the Zeratul. He does a little bit of the old-fashioned blink.
I love it.
As he leaves the fountain. I like it.
Love it. So on the side of ASU, we have Mike Udall on Zeratul, Akaface on Karazim, Snickers on Johanna, Shot on Abathur, and Fam again on that Li Ming.
And then for Santa Cruz, we have Sky713 on Thrall, Abacus on Lieutenant Morales, Kazi on Muradin, Blunderbuss on Falstad, and Zwarius on Jaina.
So I think just as far as strategy goes, both teams heading to the eye, they want that vision. I mean, really the team that loses this eye will lose the game.
Well, I mean,
that's how it goes.
Obviously. That's why both teams fight so hard for it right at the beginning of the game. I mean,
looks like Santa Cruz does actually pull the eye off. ASU is going to pull back a little bit. They say, oh, it's okay, we'll get it later.
It's all part of it is the power of an early game Morales. Yes, she has limited mana, but really just solid sustain.
So much healing, yeah.
And it's throughout the game, but especially early game, it's more throughput than a lot of other characters are capable of producing.
And see, Zeratul's already stolen it back. No big deal.
Yeah, no problem.
NBD. So Akaface is going to be up against that Thrall. I would expect Sky to be able to win that lane over time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Akaface can keep himself topped off, but in terms of wave clear, Thrall's definitely going to have the advantage there. Thrall's also able to sustain himself. And now Udall looking at the bottom lane, actually, considering a move on this Falstad, but he doesn't move out far enough. He's going to give up.
Falstad's going to be really hard for them to gank just because of that barrel roll. It's just an easy getaway, and there's no stun there either, so Mike Udall has moved back. Their shot coming up from the bottom, going to soak the bottom lane while the middle and top temples are contested. And that'll probably keep Falstad away until he has to fly in.
And Johanna taking a little bit of poke damage here, going to back out. Sky being very aggressive. Now he's all alone against Li Ming and Johanna. The heals come in from Morales, keeping him alive, and now we're going to have a fight over the middle here.
Snicker's taking a lot of damage in the middle of everybody, actually, but man, the Morales getting super low. Akaface, nice dash, and both him and Fam keeping on that Morales to take them down. Kazi, though, doing a lot of damage. Great job by Shot to get that symbiote in the shield, but it just wasn't quite enough. The chain lightning from Thrall able to finish him off.
So what we saw in that fight is that they were able to kill Morales between Karazim and Zeratul, but they went very, very hard on her, and in the end they lost a lot of health, and you saw at the end of that fight they were all very low. Akaface was not able to keep people alive, and they actually lost. It was a 1-for-2. So.
Yeah. So in the end, they're gonna split these temples as much as they can. Akaface went up to go ahead and cap that. We might see the rotation from Santa Cruz up to the top, especially since it's only about halfway done. And yeah, looks like that's where they're heading right now.
Ooh, I like this move from Udall. He's trying to see if the Morales is lagging behind the team. And yeah, it doesn't actually catch her.
Oh, Shot! Getting caught out at the bottom by Blunderbuss. That's very, very poor timing.
Oh yeah, except Fam is here, and he does not want to let that chicken get away, but it squawks as it flies over the wall. Meanwhile, Santa Cruz finishes that top temple.
Yeah, very good plays by Santa Cruz right now. They've keeping on top of things. They've gotten at least a temple and a half's worth of shots. They're in a good position right now.
Yeah, they're about a half level ahead, very close to level 7. And like you said, they had good control of those temples as well. They won a team fight.
Mike Udall on the bottom, and comes in and misses. I always forget the name of that.
Oh, it's W?
Yeah, his temporal...
Singularity Spike?
Singularity Strike, that's right.
Yeah.
So he missed the Singularity Spike onto Blunderbuss at the bottom, so he wasn't able to follow through on the...
Yep. And Santa Cruz actually looks like they want to apply some pressure mid. They have to be careful. Johanna comes in. Oh, and Jada just taking so much damage. The leaming damage is absolutely real, and she goes down.
Yeah, Fam doing an amazing job coming from the back and flanking that Jaina, and the burst that you can put out with Li Ming is just insane.
And now we have ASU hitting 7. Choosing some talents here. Nothing. We got mostly a nest build from the Abathur, which I think is not totally unexpected given the map.
Yeah, and I mean, we've heard all the talk of Vile Nest and how people absolutely hate that. It can be such a huge deal on a map that's this big. If you walk over a mine in a few spots, that can delay you from getting to a crucial team fight and actually cause your team to lose it.
Yeah, and actually I want to point out Michael Udall took Vorpal Blade. Oh wow, meanwhile in the bottom, Falstad being engaged on by Michael Udall, and wow, the chicken is down. I repeat, the chicken is down.
And that's the power of that symbiote on top of the Zeratul plus the Li Ming. There was just so much burst damage there that even though Falstad barrel rolled, it just wasn't even enough.
Yeah, and I want to just point out what I was trying to say before. Udall has actually taken Vorpal Blade. So he's going to be looking to stick to that Morales. Like, he's going to come back out and then go back in. It's going to be really dangerous. As Santa Cruz trying to just clear up this wave, and ASU's happy to just poke from afar, hoping to wear them down a bit before the fight for this temple begins in earnest.
Yeah, and it's just so hard to wear down a team with a Morales unless you can really just poke that Morales and get her to stay away from everybody else.
And Udall looking for a bit of a flank. Meanwhile, Falstad really being zoned out. Santa Cruz is on the temple, and they're getting those shots. Falstad can't get back to his team, really, and he is completely zoned out. ASU's going in.
Yeah, and there was the giant orb from Li Ming, didn't actually end up hitting anybody, and now the fight is over the shrine. Li Ming actually in a really good position, standing back. Thrall sees her, runs on top of her, just misses the Feral Spirit. Johanna coming in, everyone's just taking so much damage. There's that huge blizzard, but Jaina does fall first.
Yeah, and at this point, Thrall's going to get cleaned up. Udall low, but he's okay. Murden just trying to leave. So what we saw there is just sort of a very gradual invade with Falstad being zoned out, and Udall able to walk in and just get what he wanted on that Morales. So.
And not only that, and I mean, it didn't play a huge deal into this particular team fight, but ASU did hit 10 during all that, grabbing Disintegrate, Evolution, Bless Shield, and Void Prison, and it is going to be 7-sided Strike and Void Prison.
Aw, Void Prison.
So I don't get my Palm, and you don't get your Shadow Assault there, Josh.
I mean, I was spoiled yesterday with the games that we cast, so I should probably just deal with it. But
yeah, you know. You can feel a little sad. It's okay.
Okay.
Santa Cruz just trying to now soak to that 10. They don't want to engage in any fight. Shot being an incredibly aggressive Abathur, and he sees Murden coming down. He's like, nope, I'm just gonna get out of here.
A good call to get on out of there. Udall taking a lot of damage from the Falstad in the top, but he's gonna be okay. And at this point, the Mule's actually getting quite a bit of value, cleaning up the damage on these middle towers. I like this call from Santa Cruz, but they're still behind on XP. You're gonna have to find a way to soak and hopefully even this gap. They can try and force a fight before 13 if they can get a good pick off. But at this point, Zeratul is just a constant threat.
Yeah.
Oh, and we actually have the clone go down here.
There's the clone. They're both going on the Falstad. So much damage. 7-sided Strike and Disintegrate used on that. It might have been a bit overkill, but it worked.
Yeah, and then we actually saw a complete whip on the Ring of Frost. Hard to hit a Zeratul with that. They can usually just blink away from it. Sky trying to maybe hit Udall, but doesn't achieve that at all. And they still have this top fort, but like you said, they lost that Falstad, and that was a dangerous dive under the tower. Li Ming is going to poke this down pretty quick.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we have the ults out now from Santa Cruz. We've got the Stim Drum, Sundering, Avatar Gust, and as we saw, Ring of Frost. And so I'm thinking we're probably going to see Thrall as the Stim Drone target here.
Yeah, Falstad's also a good target, honestly. This Falstad has been building for auto attacks also, so not a bad option. ASU, I like this call. They're like, hey, we're going to push your fort. You're behind, but you're going to have to stop us or lose your fort.
Yeah.
So I like this call.
Shot again. Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, Sky just melting the poor Slug, and that's gonna hurt ASU for a little bit.
Yeah, now the good news is I don't think he had his heroic up, so oh no, it is up now. But in any case, the team fighting is not changed a huge amount. Obviously, Abathur does buff. Look at this Mule middle lane though, TBK.
It's
so
trying.
much value.
It's trying so hard, but the Li Ming comes in and is just like, okay, screw this.
The little mule that could.
Dumb mule. But I mean, it's interesting. ASU, I think, still got the better of that, even with Abathur dying, because they were able to control the bottom. They grabbed the aggressive siege camp, they got the bottom camp, and they finished off the middle fort as well. I think they just got more use out of that thing. And Mike Udall now on Blunderbuss so low. He's going to be able to have the blink soon. Oh, and the strike just finishing him off.
So in the bot lane, Shot actually was in this bush. He actually burrows away just in time, so he used his ultimate evolution to clone Karazim just to get in the ground. Because you actually burrow down, you remain where you are, but you burrow down during ultimate evolution. And he saw Muradin there. I don't think Muradin actually knew where he was, but he kind of panicked and cloned Karazim just to get out of there.
Yeah, and honestly, that is actually a really good play. Ultimate Evolution does not have a long cooldown. It's only 50 seconds, and that can actually save your life because you can use that clone to lead them away from where your real body is.
Yeah, for sure. So good job here. Looks like Santa Cruz forming up the mid. Whoa, huge engage on Li Ming. She's gone.
Yeah, that was a beautiful Stormbolt by Muradin to stun her, and the team just collapsed.
And now, ASU is up a talent here, but they're down a member, and it's Santa Cruz just going to invade this siege giant camp. I like the call here.
Yeah,
it's
a good call, especially because their main damage dealer is down for 15 more seconds. They are going to go ahead and start the boss up. ASU doesn't really seem to be around, but I guess they're just going to leave it. They're not actually going to start it.
Confused by the call there as the Morales kind of stayed behind. Falstad just hanging out this bruiser. Oh wow, the clone cuts out from Abathur, and that Falstad is going to have a hard time getting away. Gus does not hit Udall. And this Falstad is just trying to make it to safety. Void Prison used.
Void Prison's down, and there it is. Beautiful Void Prison to secure the kill on Falstad. Sundering does come out. Michael Udall getting extremely low. He does blink away. Seven-sided strike goes down, but Falstad and Jaina do fall, and now Medic is gone. Those resets on Li Ming just powering through and absolutely annihilating Santa Cruz.
The double Zeratul is terrifying. Like,
yes.
I've seen it over and over again. The Falstad, oh wow, and in the top Thrall actually gets bursted down as well, trying to defend this keep, but I am so afraid of Michael Udall right now.
Yeah. Oh, and Kazi actually getting extremely low, has to back out, and this could not have come at a better time for ASU. We have 2 temples spawn, and Santa Cruz is just barely now getting up.
Yeah, and ASU is just backing up to soak both of these temples to get the shots. They're now damaging that top keep. That's going to go down. The question is... yeah, that should go down. The question is, how much more damage will be done mid? The Mule has done some work, but not enough.
Santa Cruz is in a rough spot. They are not yet 16, which means they will be fighting... Oh, interestingly, ASU is actually giving this up.
I think they're just waiting. Yeah.
It seems like a very odd call by ASU, considering that they're not 16 yet.
It's the Zeratul clone. They're just trying to set that up so they can blow up the medic.
And there it is. The Zeratul clone does come out. Nice Gus, though, to disengage that. But the Void Prison going down on 4 members of Santa Cruz, and they are just caught in the middle. So much AoE damage. Disintegrate comes out. Jaina goes down. Medic goes down. And Thrall goes down. Muradin has to pop Avatar, and he's running for his life.
And this could be GG. They could end the game here. They aren't that hurt. They have a keep down. Michael Udall taking a lot of damage from the keep, though. He's going to be okay.
So, Falstad and Muradin still up. As long as neither one of them dies, I think they might be content just taking this keep and backing off.
Well, Udall seemingly not content with having the Falstad anywhere near him as he tries to get some damage in, but yeah, you're right. They're just gonna back this up at this point.
I mean, look at that siege damage from Li Ming. 5 missiles, an orb, and another 5 missiles, and the tower is dust.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Like I said, they're considering changing it. I'm not surprised about that. Shot taking a slug walk across the map as his team caps the siege camp. Udall just backs to his base, basically. So they're going to get this map control, take the siege camp.
What's even more impressive, though, on the side of ASU, is they would probably be even further now if not for that Mule pickup.
Oh, yeah, the Mule has actually gotten quite a bit of value.
It really has. The Kazi did end up walking into an Abathur mine there, so revealed their location. They're just going to back out. I don't know if they were looking at boss or not, but...
That's
with
a
those
very
Abathur mines, it's tough.
It's a very all-in play at this point, given that they're now 4 levels behind. They're a talent tier behind. Doing boss would basically be like a do-or-die moment for them, and given the difference in stats, likely a die moment. But at this point, they have to make something happen. They can't just stay in their base.
Yeah.
We do have the clone come down again.
Yep, and the engage onto Falstad. So much damage going down onto him. Jaina with a nice ice block, but she is going to fall. Falstad was able to get back into the Hall of Storms, but Michael Udall ends up being able to finish him off anyways. Void Prison goes down onto Medic, and this core is falling fast.
Nice accuracy on that Void Prison to not hit the core. And at this point, ASU pushing their advantage. Udall's so low, he's just kiting away from the rest of his team to give them room to take down the core. And at this point, I don't think they can stop it. Thrall with the stim drone, just absolutely wrecking. Shot comes in with the Abathur slaps to end the core, and that's going to be it. ASU takes Game 2 and the series.
Yeah, just absolutely fantastic play there by Mike Udall, actually, because he just distracted 2 members of Santa Cruz away from the core during probably the do-or-die moment for that game. I don't know if they could have actually still cleaned up ASU if they weren't distracted by him.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was just too strong of a push. Several members down, and I mean they did such a good job splitting Santa Cruz up and just deleting them one by one until the
Yeah.
end there.
I really like the coordination between Schott and Michael Udall using the ultimate evolution to get in there, put tons of pressure on a Falstad. Most of the time, the Falstad was much further forward than the Morales, so that was their target of choice. And it's so hard. Like you can't really peel Zeratul in the conventional sense. Certainly not one that has Wormhole and Vorpal Blade. Obviously, the clone does not, but there was so much pressure from ASU on the back line, and it was hard for them to really for Santa Cruz to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean one Zeratul is bad enough, but two Zeratuls, like if there's two Zeratuls on a squishy, there is very little chance that squishy is going to get away.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and just great coordination between the two of them.
Hmm.
I liked that play, and then Tham on Li Ming, showing us the power of this hero when you're able to just siege uncontested.
Oh
So
yeah,
much siege damage, like 124,000. To put that in perspective, that's over twice the highest amount on Santa Cruz, which was Falstad with 61,000.
yeah,
So just a
just
ridiculous amount.
so much siege damage for an assassin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's insane. And like you said, it probably needs a nerf of some sort. But absolutely congratulations to ASU, GG's to Santa Cruz. Well played by them as well. And that was short and sweet, Josh.
Yeah, it was a short one, but I'm very happy to see that ASU has put together these strategies. Like I like the Zeratul from Udall. He's reinvented his game towards
Yeah,
a range sort of strategy for Panda Global. But here he is playing Zeratul and doing a great job. So
yeah.
this is a team to watch going into Heroes of the Dorm.
Oh,
If you
for
do
sure.
if you do plan to watch the main tournament, this is ASU is likely a team that you will see in the top four, if not the grand finals. So great to get a sneak peek at these guys before they hit the big stage potentially.
Yeah, I completely agree. Michael Udall started out on the melee assassins, and it's really good to see whenever he gets the chance to play it. I know on Panda Global he's more the range guy, but now that in the dorm setting, it's kind of fun because he can probably be a little more flexible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, thanks so much for